Let's talk about the book.
Did you guys finish the book?
I did finish the book.
It was
Did you
super
finish the
good.
book?
I didn't finish it completely, but I read like a summary of it online, so I have.
Okay.
I know
So
everything.
basically, Kika, it's
It's set
supernatural
during Prohibition.
people in it's like in the 1920s, and there's a lot of slang, and I really want to bring that slang back into in the 2020s because that would be so fun.
All right, this is it. Everyone's gonna start speaking like just
everything's
someone
Drake.
some interesting. No, I'm gonna start. I'm gonna start talking like Bill and
God.
Ted from Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. That's what I'm gonna do.
Okay, before you read this book, would you like to have lived in the 1920s?
No.
No.
Nope.
I like the aesthetic of the 20s. I do not like that women had no vote, like there was not enough healthcare.
Did you know what a speakeasy was before reading this book?
I don't know what that is.
You still don't know what a speakeasy is?
No.
Izzy, remember when we had to do those like papers on different time periods in the 90s?
Yeah.
Yeah, we
I've
literally.
never done a paper.
Colin did a paper on the 1920s, which included the speakeasies, and he talked about them.
What were they?
It's secret underground nightclubs that served liquor during Prohibition.
Oh.
Oh
That's
yeah,
what
I was thinking like a telephone.
Speak
That's
easier with
also
your
where
friends.
a lot
Communicate from
where
far away.
flappers became popular.
Yep.
Was in speakeasies.
What incidents
Okay.
in Evie's life define her the most?
Well, I would probably have
Probably.
to say the death of her brother and like a lot of her relationships in the original town. To me, they kind of seemed not very healthy. I'm not an expert, but I can just remember.
Yeah, they
it
weren't
not-
really. That's why I mean, like that's why she had to leave the town
Yeah.
because
And
I mean, obviously no one
okay.
agreed with her beliefs.
What incidents in Evie's life define her as a person the most?
Well, obviously
Easy
the
talk.
ending, killing Hobbs, that was a pretty defining moment in her life. Let's see, figuring out that she had that special gift that she could read objects, that was a pretty defining moment in her life. Getting kicked out of Ohio was a defining moment in her life, whether it be for good or bad.
Ohio?
Yeah.
Yeah, she lived
Well-
in Ohio originally, and then it
No,
was taken
her
out of New
parents
York.
kicked her out. Like she didn't like the government didn't kick her out of Ohio.
Oh,
Her parents
I
kicked her out.
was like really confused. Like,
No.
I think they banned the entire state.
The entire
What?
state of Ohio kicked her out.
Anyway,
They all agreed.
Do you think Mabel can think for herself, or is she too influenced by her parents?
I did not like the character
Oh,
of Mabel.
God.
I thought that she
I-
was so unneeded.
like I think in a later series, I think she will become more relevant. But my thing is, yeah, she was kind of useless in the story, but maybe I'm saying this is a theory I have. Maybe as time goes on, she like becomes more of a reality kind of check. Because in the story, nobody like she doesn't know what's been happening like supernaturally.
So
And a
she's
part of
you.
me, basically, yeah, that's a fair point. And it's just for me, it's frustrating because I'm sitting there like, you don't have to do exactly what they say. Like, I understand
Wait,
wanting to have a.
Wait. So, Kat got to see herself. So, to make sure Kat read herself.
Yes, I'm just.
So,
The
Really,
thing
Mabel
is-
was important to the story when she first was like added
Yeah,
in,
it's-
but then she kind of fell off the radar and just kind of disappeared.
Well, I mean, she's a normal person who has no reason to do anything except have a crush on a guy. And don't get me. Okay, so has anyone read this, like, started to read the second book at all?
I didn't even know there was a second book. There should not be a second book to the series. This should just be it.
there's 4 or 5.
There's more. Yeah, there's like
Oh
4.
my gosh! I swear, if they're bad, I'm literally gonna cry.
Well, it's
'Cause this
okay.
book
Let me
was so
tell
good,
you.
but it did not need a sequel. It was literally wrapped up in the end, and then they add
Not really.
This new guy comes in, and he's.
I mean,
they should-
I think we have the 4th or the 5th one. I think it's the last book, and I read that the reviews were good, and like everybody said that the characters have developed so much that you can't even tell they're the same characters from book 1.
Okay.
Like, that's how much they've improved.
I've been trying to read it, but it's getting to a point I can predict what's happening and it scares me, so I just can't read it because I just don't want to feel more depressed because I'll know that I'm right and that's something.
Yeah.
Basically, what I'm saying is that I don't want to read something that will make me sad.
Who are important minor characters in the story, and what do they contribute to the main characters?
I like the uncle. I hate that he doesn't tell you anything, but I understand why, and I think it's stupid and foolish. Why?
Cat's vocal this at this hour?
Huh?
Kat's always very vocal when we have book club.
All these
Yeah, I am. I'm very passionate about books.
Well, like all the characters that were diviners as well, though, like it didn't really connect to them very well. I don't know. I feel like Memphis and stuff. It was really cool to read about him, but I don't really think he gave much to the story besides like being friends with.
I
Theta at
like
the end.
Memphis. He's very
Memphis was
cute.
cool. Don't get me wrong. I really liked like the side characters.
Okay,
but, like,
so this is another thing. This author, I've read one of her other books. I'm sorry for interrupting you, Izzy, but this is important. She has a lot of diversity in her stories, and I think that should be celebrated because I've looked into like fan art and stuff, and it's not that popular, and it makes me stunned because like there's not like 100% diversity. Izzy, you need to read the second book because I think it's good so far. It's gonna make me sad. I'm gonna try and read it.
I'm just imagining Izzy sitting there looking at
I
you.
just say
I'm sorry.
Our main characters all have very different personalities. Name a few main characters and what they represent.
The thief. I like him.
Sam was
I
cool.
do not-
I like Sam.
Yeah, he's nice, but I'm sorry. I'm sorry. It's just this book for some reason just ignites a lot of very passionate things, and the
we
entire
can tell.
well, Kika, the entire reason why this entire book starts is because somebody opened a gate with a Ouija board and didn't close it. That's how that made me very angry.
But all right, yeah. What are some of the other main characters and what they represent?
Aiden, what do you think? You haven't said like a word.
Aiden, did you like this book? You didn't finish it, so
I didn't finish it completely. I didn't exactly like the book, but I can't say it was bad. It
This
just
book was probably
was,
like in my top 5 favorite books that we've read for book club. It was really good.
Yeah,
I don't know, I just didn't like it as much as the other books, really.
let's see. The villain in this book is a mix of mystical and religious characteristics. Why do you think the Bray utilized both spectrums instead of one or the other?
I liked it a lot. The way that I don't really know why, but it turned out really good, and she wrote it very well. I don't know. I just really liked the way that it was written, and I thought it was really cool that it had both aspects.
Yeah. What do you think Project Buffalo is, and do you think Sam's mother is still alive?
Absolutely, she's still alive.
Referring to the previous question, I like it because it shows a lot of hypocrisy in like religion, and it
Oh.
also shows some. Not all of it. Yeah, I can respect that. Like, there's good churches, and there's like all sorts of. There's good places, neutral places, and bad places. That's what
Obviously,
I'm
everything
saying.
has that. Yeah.
Yeah, like I said. And where was I going with this? Right, words. Yes.
Okay.
Basically, I really like the villain. Yes, I do think that Sam's mother is alive. I don't know what Project Buffalo is. It's most likely something sinister or something that will explain why there are diviners in the world.
I
So
think it's like the Avengers Initiative in Marvel. I think it's literally like trying to get like these powerful people together.
Yeah, that
Like in
too.
the Grisha universe?
Like in the what?
The Grisha
Grisha?
universe. It's in
Like Six of Crows?
yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah,
like
yeah.
that.
It's a
kinda.
prequel to the Grisha universe.
Yeah. I didn't like reading that series because I hate the main character and all
Wait,
the
you didn't
supporting
like Six of
cast.
Crows?
Wait,
Oh,
There's a side series that's set in the same world.
I was gonna say that's literally like my second favorite book that we've ever read.
actually,
in book club.
Six of
Crows
Crows
was
is
great.
the prequel to the book Shadow and Bone and that series.
I thought
I-
it was the opposite. Like, the Shadow and Bones was before that.
Who is the gray man in the stovepipe hat on page 573?
Oh, yeah, at the end of
Someone
the book.
bad who I don't like. Who makes me mad.
Yeah, I mean, we don't know who he is, but we know that he's obviously sinister, and he's kind of like John Hobbs in the sense that he's escaped and he's a ghost, come back from the dead.
man.
What do you think James is trying to tell Evie in her dreams?
I think he's trying to prepare her for something.
For
Which
some-
I'm, assuming is what the plot of the second and
Well,
third
if it-
book is going to be about.
Well, there's like, okay, this may be a theory, but I think maybe Evie may be some sort of medium of some sort.
If you had a supernatural ability, would you embrace or deny your powers, and would you use them for good or evil?
For me,
Hmm.
it would depend on the powers because I think there are abilities I think if you learn to control can be very useful, but they can also be very dangerous. It depends on the situation and all that.
Okay, Uncle Ben.
I was saying though,
Oh,
like Eevee's ability, like where she can read the objects, that struck out to me because there's a ability like that just like in Star Wars. It's called Force Echo, and I've always been really intrigued with it.
Yeah.
It's another reason why I chose Mystic in D&D.
too.
Because you can literally touch the object and then you know the history of it, and I think that's an extremely cool ability to have, especially if like you're trying to uncover a murder because you
Well, the
can
thing
literally
is,
know
I
exactly.
think that would also be like really bad because, like, for me, if somebody was keeping a secret from me and I found out that way, I think it would hurt me a lot. Like if it was a bad secret, you know.
What events in Memphis Campbell's life do you consider most influential to the development of who he is today? Has it made him stronger
The death
or
of his
weaker?
mother.
Has it made him stronger or weaker?
I think depending on the way you look at it, I think it has made him stronger. I think it made him weaker because it made him realize he can't save everyone. And I also think that when his dad leaving also kind of destroyed like the life he had. But I do think that his new relationship with help me
Theta.
with the
Also
name,
that-
It's
the
Theta.
TH name.
Theta.
Theta.
TH.
How did Prohibition affect the lives of each of our main characters?
It didn't at all.
It
They all
didn't.
did it anyways.
Yeah, let's just skip that one because I don't remember what that word means.
It means,
Prohibition.
like,
It was
We
the
can just
age
tell
in
you what
which
it means.
drinking was illegal.
Oh, I think it somewhat affected like I think it affected Evie a little bit because, you know, underage drinking and whatnot, and it gave her like I think it gave her an escape to go to and, you know, do what she wanted, but I don't think it was a healthy escape of reality.
It didn't really
After
affect what they
hearing
did at all.
Kat
I mean, the
condemn
only
me-
time you can say it affected them was whenever the police raided the party that they were at,
Yeah.
and like Mabel got mad at Evie or Evangeline, whatever her name is,
I mean, I'm trying to remember why she got angry. Why did she get
because
angry
she got
again?
caught by the police and her mother was really mad
Well-
and she called Evie a bad influence.
Well, it's kind of true. Like, I'm not saying their friendship isn't bad. I'm just saying I personally think that underage drinking isn't okay.
Oh no, I'm
And I
not saying it's
understand that
not. I'm
people
just saying that
disagree
that's
with me.
something that affected them.
I do
Yeah.
think I think it affects their friendship because it kind of tested to see if they were stronger than just, you know, that and anything else. So it's just my view.
Uncle Will, Evie, and Jericho were working together to solve the murder mysteries. Describe what each character brought to the table.
Uncle
I
Will
like
brought
Uncle
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 Will.
Will was so cool. I love
Yeah.
that character.
I like Uncle Will.
There are many influential political and social events that occurred in the 1920s. Describe how our main characters of the novel were way ahead of their times by their actions and outlooks on life.
Dude, no one is actually ahead of their time. They're only slightly ahead of the time they think they're in.
Yeah.
Well, like,
Little do they know,
They're-
everyone else is actually ahead of them.
yeah, like their way of thinking and stuff, did it align with like the 1920s, or was it like super progressive,
Yeah.
or did it just feel like reading about people from the current era that we're in?
Honestly, it didn't really
None of them
even.
were.
I didn't really. It didn't strike me as like an old timey book. Like, you know, obviously there's some
Yeah.
aspects of it, like, you know,
I
there's
wonder
the
why,
CIA
is
at
he?
large. There's like automobiles are new and stuff, but at the same time, it still just seemed kind of. I mean, I don't know. I don't really think the time period mattered that much.
I like that it was set in the 20s because it kind of gives you a bit of a difference between like the stuff, and it really does show that even though this was in the 20s, a lot of the stuff that's in it is still relevant today, which is bad. But like I just really like the 1920s and 30s because a lot of my favorite or mystery shows are like based in that timeline. Miss Fisher, I love her.
I feel like
Yeah.
that's probably why she chose the 20s also, is just because that's
Yeah.
the classic, like, black and white murder mystery movies. That aesthetic.
What's the next
That
question?
makes sense. Yeah.
What similarities do you see in the 1920s youth and today's youth?
Yeah, and the accurate 1920s youth versus today's youth, there's a lot of difference.
Yeah.
But
I think there's a lot of stuff that's changed and a lot of things that have not.
Well,
tell
I think-
similarity.
I don't know how much like how easy it would be to actually write a completely accurate book to a time like the 1920s, because how many people
Unless
are
you,
still
like,
alive
research it,
from
like-
the 1920s?
Yeah, you would have to
Yeah.
research
You'd have
years
to-
and years and years. to do
Yeah,
that.
and you still wouldn't get it down to the dot because you weren't there. You didn't have the mindset of the
And
people
even
there.
if you weren't there, someone's from a different part
Yeah.
area, it would be completely different for them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
That's like with
so-
the outsider, she read it from her personal experience, but still said, hey, some things might not be accurate
hmm
at the time because it's been so long.
If this book was set in present day New York City instead of 1920 New York City,
This
how
would
would the
be
story be
so
different?
This book would be
It'd be
whack
pretty
if it
cool.
was modern.
I
But
think
it
would
would
be
be
know if
kind
it's
of
cool.
I would enjoy. I don't think I would enjoy it more, but it would be a cool twist. I think.
I don't know if you mean. I don't know how I would feel about cool. Have you seen like modern day New York? Like right now, it's
Yes.
not the
Okay,
not the
well,
best
right now.
place to be.
Okay, no, right now,
currently.
no. But like
Right now,
modern
it's
day New York in
cozy.
general.
Maybe before coronavirus,
You know, it would
that would
actually
be
be kinda
interesting.
cool. But like, I don't know. It would actually kind of be kind of cool in that because then people wouldn't be out, and then there'd just be these like everyone's wearing a mask and like no one's out, but yet there's still these
Oh, no.
murders.
I don't know what
I
you mean
don't
by
know.
no one's out. Everyone's still out. Nobody's
Well, I mean
listening.
now. I mean like, but like
Yeah.
now, yeah, obviously now everyone's out. But like, I don't know. I just think it would be kind of cool to have like something out of the ordinary happening along with the out of the ordinary of the book.
This entire
Yeah.
book is out of the ordinary. I don't know what more you want to see.
If you could change the end of the novel, how would you?
I would not have made it like have an open gateway to another book. I honestly think this could have just been like a standalone novel that
Yeah.
lets you think about like what's going to happen to the
Well,
diviners and everything.
Well, my thing is,
I don't other books.
if I didn't know that there was more to the series, I would have been satisfied with the ending. I would have been a little sad because I liked the secondary characters and I wanted to know more about them. But like, I'm trying to read it and it just makes me want to cry because I think I'm so scared of what's going to happen next, and I don't trust authors after what happened in the 4th book of Trials of Apollo.
I don't trust authors because of that. Which book series? The Divergent book
Yeah,
series.
Divergent, the
That's
last
why.
book. I kept
That's
saying
why.
I kept saying
I
it, but
really-
you didn't
no
get out of the top, so it'll be
spoilers.
fine.
I
I've
really
never
like
read it. Okay, so I tried to listen to the audiobook of it one time. I think it was the 2nd book, and I was just so completely disinterested because I'm like, okay, they have cool superpowers. It's in the dystopian future, blah, blah, blah. Why is this interesting? And I just ended up returning it to the library because I was just so done.
Superpowers?
When do they have?
Yeah,
superpowers?
Divergent.
I don't
When did-
remember.
when did
I
they
don't
get
remember.
Superpowers? I don't
Yeah, I don't
They
remember
don't
that.
have superpowers.
They don't have superpowers.
Wait,
I've
which
watched-
series are we
I've
talking
seen
about?
Divergent. Like I've seen all of the movies and read all the books. There's no superpowers.
There's no
Give me a
superpowers.
picture of what the book looks like, please. I might be thinking of another
Google
series.
Also,
it.
don't watch the movies at all because the movies are absolutely
The movies
I
suck.
horrible.
watched the first movie and I was like, good.
The first
Did
book
not
is
read
really
it.
good. I really liked the first book. After that, it just slowly
like a
declined
few
into
I liked all the
badness.
books, but the first book was definitely the best.
The last one was bad.
Anyway, let's talk about any more of the question.
Did you find any part of the book disturbing or scary at all, and which part?
Nothing disturbed me in this book because none of it was as bad as the game I played last week. Was it called Call of Cthulhu? That game was fun.
I did find a lot. I found it was more chilling than scary to me because it was more like, wow, that was interesting and a bit terrifying, but I can still sleep except for the scene that I can't talk about because Kika's here, right?
Yeah.
That one made me feel very sick, and I had to put the book down because it just made me very angry that it was happening.
Yeah.
And it still makes me angry that stuff like that still happen now.
Which character do you identify with the most, and what are similarities you share? Also, are they your favorite character?
I honestly like Memphis the best because he's just so sweet, and I love him. And I don't really think I related. Okay, so this is just me. I like reading books, but a lot of characters that I would like to, identify with or kind of resonate with, they just don't, or they're not similar enough to me, or they just like physically, mentally, or just how they are, they just don't really resonate with me. And that's one of the reasons why I like Nina from Six of Crows so much, is because she's kind of what I want to be, but not entirely, because she's like very confident and, she likes sweets and I love sweets. And it's just kind of, it's nice to know that there's some characters in this that I can read about that I really like.
I
Do you
feel like
have
I kind of
any-
identified like with Jericho. I don't know. I like Jericho. He was cool.
Uncle
yeah, Jericho.
Will.
Is
I
it-
like
is-
Uncle Will,
Uncle
but I'm
Will.
mad. I
Is
like
that the
Uncle
character
Will, but
you
I'm mad
identified
that
with most?
Love that man.
No, I don't think in this book at least. I think maybe in another one, but so far no.
Who is your least favorite character?
Oh,
What's
I probably have to say Mabel because she's very tepid, and it's just kind of like I think one thing that I think if Libba Bray is trying to, have a normal character and then eventually she becomes more plot relevant, that's fine. However, I kind of would have preferred it if she would just there's more of a reason for her not to be there besides, she's probably with her parents doing something like activist,
So
maybe she has a
your
job.
favorite character is yourself.
What do you think is the most important part of the novel and why?
Uncle Will.
Just
Her getting
Uncle
kicked
Will.
out of Ohio.
That's
That's
the
I
most-
think-
easily the most important part of it, because none of this would have ever happened. They probably would have never caught the pentacle filler if she never left Ohio.
Oh yeah, that's pretty important.
Well,
'Cause otherwise,
I
Uncle
think
Will would
the
never be
most
mentioned.
important thing is, hey, Izzy, Rover, don't mess with an Ouija board. Ever.
Yeah.
Okay.
Based on the ending of the novel, what do you predict will happen in the sequel?
Everyone dies.
The man with the hat is going to come into play.
There's like
Somehow.
Well,
five-
duh.
I can't answer because I'm reading it, but
Stop reading these next books. You can never answer when you get asked these questions because you always read the next one early.
because I wanted to be ready in case we were going to read that one next. And also, I don't want to read Skyward because I think it's boring.
Oh
We
yeah.
always
there's-
we always decide like last second what we're gonna read next.
Anyway, how has life in the city changed Evie? Do her behaviors show improvement or diminished in her journey to adult life?
I think she's become more independent, which I'm proud of because independent ladies, that's good. But I also think that she needs to learn that there are consequences for what she does.
I think
So,
she did learn that towards the end of the book, because she really wanted to stay in New York, so she was going to do whatever it took to stay there.
Yeah,
She
and
was
then
gonna
she
follow
went
the
to the
rules. She was
press
gonna-
and announced her like powers and everything.
That was
Yeah.
Like, there's I don't know
Okay.
if she realizes the consequences to that action.
well. My thing is, if I had abilities, I would let people know in my life who I trust. Everyone else, nope. Nope,
I'm-
nope.
I would
I wouldn't
barely
tell
let
anybody.
anyone know. Yeah,
Yeah.
like that's not a smart idea.
I feel like I would tell like Izzy and Lainey, and that would be it. Maybe just
Did you enjoy reading The Diviners? Would you read the sequel?
Yes.
And would you encourage others to read it?
I'm trying.
know.
I probably will read the sequel, yeah. Because
I don't know
I
if I'd
have
read
the
the
book,
sequel.
but the problem is my focus on it just doesn't work because I know I have this gut feeling of sadness, and I don't want to get sad. I want to be happy.
I mean, it was an interesting book, but I don't know. I don't know if I could like read the second one. I don't know.
can I pick the next book we read?
The next possible ones that I had down were The Gilded Wolves or Sorcery of Thorns. They're both supposed to be really good. The Gilded Wolves is about like a guy who's an outcast in a magic secret society and has to do in Paris, and it has to do with a heist.
That one.
And then this, and then the other one, Sorcery of Thorns, has to do with like she's like a librarian, but magical books can be transformed into monsters. And the director of the institution is killed. So yeah, they have to investigate centuries old
I want to
conspiracy.
read that one.